When was the last time you felt truly motivated? Remember that state when it seems like you could move mountains? You made the perfect workout plan, scheduled 30 days of healthy eating, or finally decided to learn a new language. Now another question. How many of these plans did you actually complete? If you're like most people, probably not many. And you know what? That's absolutely normal. But today, I'll reveal a secret that turned my life upside down. Motivation is a myth, at least as a long-term strategy. Instead, there's something much more powerful that's rarely discussed in Instagram stories about success and personal growth. Today, we'll talk about why motivation almost always fails us and why discipline is your real secret weapon in the game called life. Part 1. The anatomy of motivation. What is motivation if you think about it? Essentially, it's an emotional state, an energy push that drives us to act. Sounds great, doesn't it? The problem is that motivation is an emotion. And what do we know about emotions? They come and go like ocean waves. When you start a new project, your motivation level is usually at its peak. You feel a rush of endorphins, you visualize the result, and it seems so attainable. But what happens next? The first obstacle comes along, or just the mundane routine, or you're tired after work, and your motivation simply disappears. Here's an unknown statistic. According to research, almost 80% of New Year's resolutions fail by February. And why? Because the motivation with which they were made evaporated. But there's good news. We don't actually need motivation. It's like a match. Bright, but burns out quickly. Part 2. The paradox of discipline. Now let's talk about discipline. Sounds a bit strict, doesn't it? Most of us associate this word with limitations, rigid rules, even punishment. But what if I told you that discipline is actually your path to freedom? Here's the paradox that changed my understanding. Discipline limits you today to give you more opportunities tomorrow. Think of it this way. Discipline isn't tyranny over yourself. It's an investment in your future self. When you save money, you limit your spending today, but get more tomorrow. When you're disciplined in learning, you limit your leisure time today, but get more career opportunities tomorrow. The key difference from motivation: discipline doesn't depend on your mood. It works even when, especially when, you're not in the mood. I love Jim Rohn's quote, "Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments." But there's another version I like even more. Discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't want to do it. That's the superpower, doing what needs to be done, regardless of whether you want to or not. Part 3. The neurobiology of habits. Now let's dive into the science. Why does discipline work better than motivation? Our brain hates wasting energy. It's an evolutionary survival mechanism. And the most efficient way to conserve energy is to create automatisms, habits. Here's an unexpected fact. According to neurobiological research, over 40% of what we do daily are not conscious decisions, but habits. Imagine that your daily actions are trails in a forest. Each time you go down a certain path, it becomes more trodden and visible. Over time, going down this path becomes easier. Discipline is when you consciously create new trails, even if initially they're difficult and uncomfortable to walk on. The most interesting thing is that after a certain time, about 66 days according to recent studies, these trails become so trodden that walking on them becomes natural. A new habit is formed, and you no longer need either motivation or willpower. And here lies the real magic. What began as discipline transforms into automatism and sometimes even into pleasure. Part 4. Practical steps. All right, enough theory. How do you actually develop discipline? Here are some unexpectedly effective strategies. Start microscopically small. Forget about grandiose plans. Want to run every morning? Start with one lap around the house. Want to write a book? Start with one sentence a day. Small victories create momentum. Set up systems, not goals. The goal, lose 10 kilograms, depends on the result. The system, eat vegetables with every lunch, focuses on the process you can control. Use if-then planning. Research shows that this simple technique significantly increases the likelihood of success. For example, if I come home from work and want to lie on the couch, then I first exercise for 10 minutes. Make discipline visible. a calendar where you mark the days when you stuck to the plan, or a public commitment to friends. These methods increase accountability. And finally, most importantly, anticipate and plan for failures. You will definitely miss a day, slip up, lose rhythm. That's normal. True discipline is not manifested in perfect execution, but in the ability to get back on track after a failure. Conclusion. Finally, I want to share a thought that changed my life. Motivation asks, why should I do this? Discipline answers, because I promised myself I would. By developing discipline, you give yourself the most valuable gift, the ability to trust your own words. When you promise yourself to do something and you do it, you build trust in yourself. And you know what? Over time, disciplined action will start to bring you greater joy than any temporary comfort from procrastination. So, what will you choose? To live by mood, waiting for the next flash of motivation, or to take responsibility for your life through daily disciplined actions? The choice is yours. But remember, great achievements rarely depend on great impulses. More often, they are the result of small, consistent steps in the right direction. Thank you for your attention. See you in the next video.